Welcome to Chronic Illness and Disability 101, where we are exchanging stigmas for knowledge, understanding, and acceptance in this part of life that few discuss, but so many experience. Chapter 2, Mobility Matters.
Hello, friend. I'm so glad that you're here. Have I shared with you that I now have to use a wheelchair, or that I hate it, but I'm extremely grateful for it? A few weeks ago, I headed to the hospital for a breathing test. The last time I took this test, I failed completely, miserably, horribly, just failed. My results? My body had forgotten how to breathe correctly. I didn't even know that was a thing. We've tried several things since, so it was time to try the test again. In hopes of passing this time, I did everything I could to set myself up for success. I scheduled the test for the day after an infusion. I made sure I got lots of sleep, didn't even get out of bed until it was time to actually leave for the test. And as soon as we got there, we used my wheelchair as always. Even with all that, I still failed miserably. We actually had to stop the test when I passed out for the second time. It took me almost a full week to recover, but what made it so much worse was the tech. On 3 separate occasions, all within about the first 10 minutes of being with her, the tech asked me with increasing levels of what I can only call judgment, you can walk, so why are you using a wheelchair? After the third time, I was flabbergasted that not only was she continuing to show such judgment, but that my previous 2 explanations were somehow still not good enough. So that third time, I just looked at her and very sharply said, I use my wheelchair because I need it. Unfortunately, this is not the first time that something like that's happened. In fact, it's not even the first time that this has happened at that hospital. When people say things like this, they aren't asking questions, because they're not looking for an answer, they're looking for a justification. The only way we are ever going to break down the stereotypes attached to mobility aids is through education. Users face these stigmas and stereotypes every day, and they can make it difficult for them to fully participate in society or even their own life. What many people don't understand is everything that using a mobility aid can give someone. So what are they? Mobility aids are devices that help people with disabilities or chronic illnesses move around more easily, safely, and independently. There are many different types, each designed and used for a specific purpose. Canes can come in various sizes, shapes, even colors, and they're designed to help people with balance and stability. Walkers are a lot like canes. However, they have a wider base because they're typically used by people that need a lot more help with stability. Wheelchairs can be manual or electric and are usually customized to the specific user's needs. Scooters are like wheelchairs, but they're usually used outside or for long distances. And prosthetic limbs are custom made for their users. Each type of mobility aid is used differently. It really depends on the user's individual needs and abilities, but each is designed to help prevent falls, reduce pain, reduce fatigue, and increase the overall safety and quality of the user's life. Most people don't realize that mobility aids are not a sign of weakness. They're just a tool used by people with disabilities or chronic illness. It's no different than the tools a cobbler, a plumber, or even a carpenter uses. While others may see it as a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. Older adults are the largest user group. However, they're used by people of all ages. Even medically necessary mobility aids can be very expensive and aren't always covered by insurance or government programs. They require maintenance, just like any other tool or device, regular cleanings, checking for wear and tear, adjustments, basic checks to ensure that it is still safe and effective for the user. However, all of those can add additional costs. Some mobility aids, like wheelchairs or canes and crutches, are visible and obvious. Others are very discreet, like hearing aids or joint braces, even specialty writing or eating devices. Remember that just like how all disabilities aren't visible, neither are all mobility aids. important for everyone to know that mobility aids are not a cure. While they can improve the quality of life, give the user some sense of empowerment, even allow them to participate in activities that would otherwise be impossible, they do not eliminate or cure the underlying condition. According to the CDC, approximately 13.7% of adults in the US, so a little more than 35 million people, have a mobility disability, which is defined as a serious difficulty walking or climbing stairs. The stereotypes and negative attitudes about mobility aids and their users are making it difficult for people to use them, even when they desperately need it. In a 2017 study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, researchers found that 41.5% of older adults, 65 and older, who used mobility aids reported experiencing discrimination or negative stigma related to their use of aids. One of the most common and negative stereotypes about mobility users is that they are completely dependent on others and are helpless or incapable of taking care of themselves. Despite the contradictory stereotype, people using mobility aids are often very independent and self-sufficient, while others view them with pity, assuming that their lives are inherently sad or hard, or they try and turn them into a source of inspiration. These stereotypes can be condescending and dehumanizing, reducing users to objects of pity or inconvenience. First and foremost, we're people with our own unique needs, desires, challenges, and experiences. It's important to respect their autonomy and not make assumptions about someone's abilities or limitations based solely on them using a mobility aid. When you encounter someone that's using a wheelchair, it is never okay to move them without their consent. It can be dangerous or damaging to the user or the mobility aid. Wheelchairs are designed to provide mobility and independence, but they are usually tailored to the specific needs of the user, including specialized features that can ensure safety and comfort. Moving someone in a wheelchair without their consent violates their rights, takes away their autonomy and control over their own mobility, and is just flat out disrespectful. Don't do it. You wouldn't walk up to someone in a public area and just pick them up and move them, would you? Why would you move someone in a wheelchair? People with disabilities, including those in wheelchairs, have the same right to make decisions about their own lives, including how they move and navigate through their environment. If you or a loved one require the use of a mobility aid, there are ways to make the transition easier. Discuss it with your medical providers, your friends, and your family about why an aid may be necessary and what accommodations you might need. Consider talking to those same friends, family, or even a therapist about any negative emotions you may feel about using a mobility aid. If you're nervous about it, practice at home before you go out in public. And most importantly, find support. It can be difficult to find someone in your day-to-day life that's going through something like this. Online, there are lots of communities and people with disabilities. Connecting with others can help you feel less alone and a lot more confident. Not everyone will understand or accept your use of a mobility aid. Be patient and kind, even when faced with discrimination or negativity. Educating others takes time and effort, but it's worth it. If you hear someone making negative comments, challenge those stereotypes. Explain what mobility aids really do for a user, and that the people using these are just as capable as anyone else. The use of a mobility aid is a personal choice that can improve the quality of your life. Don't let feelings of embarrassment or self-consciousness hold you back from utilizing a tool that can help you live your best life. Thank you for being here, my friend. I will talk to you soon.